Welcome back, everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. I was halfway through my pasta when she dropped it on me. There was not a hint, not a slow build-up, just a direct statement, delivered as if she were discussing the weather. She said, "I need to focus on my career. This marriage is holding me back." The fork hung in the air for a second before I set it down. 5 years. 5 years of building a life together. And that was how she chose to open the conversation. "Holding you back," I repeated, making sure I had heard that correctly. She nodded and pushed her plate away like the food suddenly disgusted her. She said, "I've been thinking about this for months. I need space to grow professionally. Being married is too much responsibility right now." Months. She had been planning this exit for months while I thought we were fine. I leaned back in my chair and studied her face. There were no tears, no hesitation. She had already made up her mind. This was not a discussion. It was an announcement. "Okay," I said. She blinked. "Okay, that is it. Then focus," I said. Her expression shifted from confident to confused in a breath. "That is it. You're not going to fight for us." I almost laughed. "Fight for us?" As if I were the one giving up. "You just told me our marriage is an obstacle to your success. What exactly am I supposed to fight for here?" "You already decided." She opened her mouth and then closed it. I could see the wheels turning. This was not going the way she expected. She said, "I thought you would understand. This promotion I am going for requires everything. Late nights, travel, networking events. I cannot do that and worry about dinner plans and checking in with you." "Then leave," I said. "If that is what you need, I'm not stopping you." Confusion turned into something else. Irritation, maybe. She seemed to expect tears or a scene. "You are being cold about this." "I'm being practical," I said. "You want out. I'm giving you out. What did you expect? That I would cry and promise to change? Change what exactly? I am not the problem here." She stood up and grabbed her phone from the table. "I will stay at my sister's place tonight. We can figure out the details later." "Take your time," I said, and picked up my fork again. "I would not want to hold you back." She stared at me for a long moment, probably waiting for me to crack. When I did not, she grabbed her purse and walked to the door. "This is really how you want to handle this?" she asked from the doorway. I looked up at her. "You made the call. I am respecting your decision. Good luck with the career thing." The door closed behind her. Not a slam, just a quiet click. I sat there for a minute, staring at her unfinished plate. 5 years. And she walked away as if it were a job she was quitting, not a marriage. The next morning, my phone had 3 texts from her, all variations of, "We need to talk about this properly," and "Do not make any rash decisions." Rash decisions. That was rich coming from the person who just torpedoed our marriage over pasta. I did not respond. There was nothing to say. She wanted freedom to chase her ambitions without the inconvenience of a husband. I gave her exactly that. A week went by. She took most of her clothes, but left the bedroom furniture. I guess she figured she would be back once I came to my senses. Her mother called on day 8. I had always liked Patricia. She said, "What is going on between you two? You are being stubborn." She said the marriage was holding her back from her career. I said calmly. So I agreed. Not much to be stubborn about. Silence on the other end. Then, she did not tell me that part. She probably left that detail out. "Have you two thought about counseling?" Patricia asked. She is the one who left. If she wants to work on it, she knows where to find me. But I am not chasing someone who sees me as a burden. Patricia sighed. "I will talk to her." "Do not bother on my account," I said. "She is an adult. She made her choice." Another week passed. I started reorganizing the closet where her things used to be. I got rid of some old junk I had meant to toss. It felt good, honestly, like clearing out dead weight. My buddy Griffin called and asked if I wanted to grab drinks in the U Street corridor in Washington, District of Columbia. For the first time in months, I said yes without checking with anyone first. "You are taking this pretty well," he said, sliding a drink across the bar. I shrugged. What is the alternative? Fall apart because she decided I am not worth her time? "Most guys would be a mess right now," Griffin said. "Most guys probably saw it coming," I said. I did not. But once she said it out loud, everything clicked. She had been checked out for a while. He nodded slowly. "So what now?" "Now I keep living," I said. She wanted to focus on her career without distractions. "I'm focusing on my life without dead weight." He raised his glass. Harsh but fair. 3 weeks in, she sent a long message about how we both needed space to think, and maybe this break was good for us. Break. She was calling a break now. I typed back one sentence. This is not a break. You left. Own it. There was no response. Month 2. I ran into one of her co-workers, Melissa, at a grocery store in Silver Spring, Maryland. Small talk turned awkward fast. How are you holding up? She asked. I am fine. Why would I not be? Melissa looked uncomfortable. Just, with everything going on. You mean with my wife deciding marriage was too inconvenient for her career goals? Yes, I am managing, I said. Melissa shifted her bags. She talks about you at work sometimes. Says you are not taking this seriously. I almost laughed. Taking what seriously? Her decision to leave? I took it very seriously. That is why I'm not waiting around. By month 3, I had settled into a routine. Work in downtown Washington, District of Columbia. Gym during lunch near the office. Evenings with friends or quiet nights at home. Hobbies I had abandoned years ago began to surface again. Life goes on just fine when you are not constantly accommodating someone who does not appreciate it. She called once during that time. I let go to voicemail and listen later. Hi, it is me. I wanted to check in and see how you're doing. Things have been crazy at work. Maybe we can meet up and talk. Let me know. I deleted it halfway through. If she wanted to talk, she should have thought about that before deciding I was holding her back. For months in, the texts became more frequent. How are you doing? We should talk about the utilities. Can we meet to discuss some financial stuff? On the surface, they were reasonable. In my gut, they were tests. I responded to the practical ones. Short answers. No emotion. I already switched the utilities to my name. I handled the joint account. A lawyer can sort the rest. The personal questions I ignored. My coworker Nate noticed the change. Over lunch near McPherson Square, he said, "You seem different lately. More focused." I shrugged. I got rid of some unnecessary weight. Nate smirked. Is your wife still at her sister's place? I have no idea where she is. Honestly, that is not my concern anymore. That is cold, he said. Is it? She's the one who said I was holding her back. I am giving her what she wanted. Truthfully, those first few weeks were rough. I'm not going to pretend I did not think about it. 5 years does not disappear overnight. But around week 6, something shifted. Not dramatically. One morning I realized I felt lighter. I started hitting the gym near my office 3 days a week. Nothing extreme. I needed to do something with the extra energy. Working out is easier when you're not rushing home to make dinner plans. Griffin convinced me to join his Saturday basketball group at a community center in Prince George's County, Maryland. A rotating cast of guys from different jobs, a couple of teachers, a union electrician, a software developer, and an EMT. We ran full court, traded fouls and jokes, and called it a day. Where have you been hiding? One of them asked after my first game. Griffin said you were married. Is that why we never saw you? I was married, I said. Yes, pretty much. What happened, he asked. She decided her career was more important than the marriage, I said. Told me I was holding her back. The guy whistled low. Brutal. How long were you together? 5 years. Then she walked. That is messed up, he said. Griffin jumped in. He is handling it like a champ. Most guys would be drowning their sorrows. I grabbed my water bottle. What is the point? She made her choice. I made mine, which is to move forward. Simple as that. Around month 5, her father Howard called. I almost did not answer, but I respected him. Son, he said, what is going on with you two? Did she not tell you? I asked. She said you two were taking time apart, and that you were being difficult about reconciliation. Difficult? That was how she was spinning it. Here's what happened, I said. She told me the marriage was holding her back from her career goals. She said she needed to focus on work without the responsibility of being married. I agreed and let her leave. He paused. She said that word for word. Over dinner 5 months ago, I said. We have not spoken since except for logistics. Why ignore her personal texts? He asked. Because what is there to say? I asked. She wanted out. She got out. I am not going to sit around waiting for her to decide I'm worth her time again. He sighed. Patricia thinks you two need to communicate better. With respect, communication was not the issue. Priorities were. She made hers clear. You are not willing to try? He asked. Try what? Convince her I am not an obstacle to her success. That is not something I should have to prove to my wife. The gym became my anchor. Same time, 3 days a week. I started recognizing the regulars and exchanged small nods that turned into brief conversations. One of them, a woman named Claire who worked in accounting in downtown Washington, struck up a conversation while we were both on the treadmills. "You are consistent," she said. "Same schedule every week." I glanced over. "It is easier to stick with it when it becomes routine." She smiled. "Most people start strong and disappear after a month. I used to be one of those people. Life changes, then habits change. Good changes, I hope," she said. "Getting there," I said. We kept it light. She did not flirt, and I was not interested in anything complicated. But it felt good to have a normal conversation with someone who did not know my situation. That was when it hit me. For the first time in months, I had gone an entire hour without thinking about my wife. Month 6 arrived with a text I did not expect. "I miss you. Can we please talk?" Really talk. I stared at the message for a minute. Part of me, the part that remembered 5 years of history, wanted to respond. The other part, the one that remembered her calling our marriage a burden, deleted the message. Griffin noticed my quiet mood at basketball that weekend. "Everything good?" he asked. "She texted and said she misses me," I said. "What did you say?" he asked. "Nothing. I deleted it." He nodded. "That is probably the right move." "Probably," I said. He dribbled, and then paused, thoughtful. "Look, I did not know everything, but from what you told me, she bailed when things got serious about her career. Now she is feeling it and wants to come back. It is classic." "Classic," I said. "Yes. People get comfortable and take things for granted," he said. "Then they leave, thinking the grass is greener. When it is not, they try to come back to what was comfortable." It made sense. It did not make it easier. "Do you think I'm being too harsh?" I asked. "Honestly, no," he said. "She is the one who burned the bridge. You're just not helping her rebuild it. There is nothing wrong with that." Another player called us back to the court. As I jogged over, I realized I was not angry anymore. Not bitter. Not hurt. I was done. That felt like progress. Month 10 hit differently. I was grabbing coffee before work when I ran into Melissa, who worked in the same building as my wife had. We had met at a couple of company events back when I attended such things. "Oh, hey," she said, surprised to see me. "How have you been?" "Good," I said. "You—" She hesitated, that uncomfortable pause people use when they know something you might not. "Have you talked to her lately?" The way she asked made my stomach dip, slightly. "Not in months." "Why?" "Oh," she said. "I figured you would know. She was let go about 2 weeks ago." I kept my face neutral. "What happened?" "A big project she was leading went sideways. It cost the company a lot. They blamed her management. She fought it, but they had made up their minds," Melissa said. The irony sat heavy and cold. The career she had sacrificed our marriage for had just imploded. "That is rough," I said, because what else was there to say? "She has been pretty quiet about it." "I only know because I saw her clearing out her desk," Melissa said. "You really did not know?" "We have not talked," I said. "She made her choices. I made mine." 2 weeks later, my phone rang. Her name on the screen for the first time in months. I almost let it go to voicemail. Almost. I answered. "Yes," I said. "Hi," she said, and her voice sounded smaller than I remembered. "I know I have not called, but I was hoping we could meet and talk face to face." "About what?" I asked. "About us. About everything." "Please," she said. I could hear it, the desperation she was trying to hide. She needed something. "Where?" I asked. "Maybe the house. Or I could come by after work," she said. "No," I said. "We will meet at the coffee shop on 5th in Charlotte, North Carolina. Tomorrow at noon. Cannot we do it somewhere more private?" she asked. "That is the offer. Take it or leave it," I said. Silence stretched long enough to feel like a test. Then she said, "Okay, tomorrow at noon." I showed up 5 minutes late. Not to be petty. I just did not see a reason to rush. She was already there, sitting at a corner table, looking more worn down than I had ever seen her. "Thank you for coming," she said. I flagged the waitress and ordered a black coffee. I did not ask if she wanted anything. She already had a cup. "What is this about?" I asked once the waitress left. "I've been thinking about us and how things ended," she said. "I made some mistakes." "Okay," I said. "That is it." "What do you want me to say?" she asked. "You called this meeting," I said. She took a breath and steadied herself. "Things have been difficult. Work has been stressful, and I have had time to reflect on what matters." I already knew she had been fired. She did not know that I knew. I wanted to see how she would play it. "Uh-huh," I said. And I realized that I threw away something genuine for something that turned out to be temporary, she said. Your career, you mean? I asked. She flinched. My priorities. Yes. I thought I knew what I wanted. I was wrong. I was wrong to push you away. Wrong to say the things I said. I want to fix this. I want to fix us. The waitress brought my coffee. I took a slow sip and let the silence fill the corners. How is work going? I asked, already knowing the answer. Her face tightened. It has been challenging. Challenging how? I asked. I didn't want to talk about work, she said. I want to talk about us. But work was the reason we are here, I said. You said the marriage was holding you back from your career. How is that career going? She looked down at her cup. I was fired 3 weeks ago. I heard, I said. Her head snapped up. You knew. I ran into Melissa. She mentioned it. I said. You did not think to reach out and see if I was okay, she asked. I almost laughed. You left me 10 months ago because I was in your way. Why would I check on you? Because we were married for 5 years. Because we meant something to each other, she said. We were married, I said. Past tense. And yes, we did mean something. Until you decided I was ballast. Wait, I never said that, she said. You said the marriage was holding you back. Same thing, I said. She wiped at her eyes. I did not feel the urge to comfort her. I just watched and waited. I messed up, she said quietly. I know I did. People make mistakes. Cannot we work past this? Work past what? I asked. You threw away 5 years because you thought something better was waiting. Now that it did not work out, you want the safety net back. That is not fair, she said. Is it not? I asked. You had your shot at the big career. It fell apart. Now suddenly you remember the marriage you could not wait to escape. I was under pressure, she said. I was confused. You were not confused, I said. You said you had been thinking about it for months. Remember? She reached across the table, as if to grab my hand. I pulled back before she could. Do not, I said. Please, she said. We can go to counseling, work on communication, do whatever it takes. I finished my coffee, stood up, pulled out my wallet, and set a $10 bill on the table. I have moved on, I said. You wanted to focus on your career. I focused on my life. We both got what we needed. You cannot mean that, she said. I absolutely mean that. You made a choice. Live with it. Her face crumpled, but I was already walking toward the door. Wait, she called, loud enough for heads to turn. We can fix this. I know we can. I stopped at the door. You cannot fix something you deliberately broke, I said. Have a good life. The parking lot felt lighter somehow, as if I had been carrying something heavy and finally set it down. My phone buzzed before I reached the car. A text from her. Please do not do this. I need you. I stared at it for a second and typed back. You needed your career more. Remember? I blocked her number right after. I should have done it months ago. Griffin texted that evening and asked if I wanted to grab drinks. You look like you had an interesting day, he said when I walked into the bar. I met with the ex, I said. She wants to reconcile. And I said no. He nodded. Good for you. She realized what she lost. More like she lost everything else first, I said. Now she wants a backup plan. Griffin clinked his glass with mine. You are not anyone's backup plan, brother. Exactly, I said. 3 days after I blocked her number, the call started from her family. First Patricia, then Howard again, then her younger brother Devin, who I had always gotten along with. Different words, same message. She was struggling. Everyone deserved a second chance. We had something special. I kept my responses polite but firm. She made her decision. I respected it. Now she needs to respect mine. Devin was the most persistent. He called during my lunch break. Look, man, he said, I know she messed up, but she is family. Cannot you at least hear her out properly? I heard her out of the coffee shop, I said. She wants back now that her plan failed. I'm not interested. That is harsh, he said. Is it? I asked. She told me I was holding her back from success. Those are not words you take back. People say things they do not mean when they are stressed, he said. She was not stressed, I said. She was calculating. She said she had been thinking about it for months. That is not heat of the moment. He went quiet. She did not tell us that part. Of course she did not, I said. It is easier to paint me as the bad guy than admit she gambled our marriage and lost. So that is it, he asked. 5 years means nothing. 5 years meant everything to me, I said. Apparently not to her. I am not going to be the consolation prize. The weekend brought a new development. I was leaving the gym when I saw her car parked outside my house in Silver Spring. She was in the driver's seat, waiting. I parked in the driveway and walked to my front door. I did not acknowledge her. She got out. "Please," she said. "Can we talk for 5 minutes?" I unlocked my door. "No. I drove all the way here," she said. "That was your choice," I said. "Like leaving was your choice. Like focusing on your career was your choice. You were good at making choices. Live with them." "You are being cruel," she said. I turned to face her. "I'm being honest. Do you want cruel?" Cruel is telling your husband of 5 years that he is an obstacle to your dreams. Me not wanting you back is just common sense. "I was wrong," she said. "I have said that. I have moved on," I said. "I have said that too." "How many times do we need to have this conversation?" she asked. "Until you understand that I do not need to forgive you," I said. "I need you to leave me alone." I went inside and locked the door. Through the window, I watched her stand by her car. Then she sat down behind the wheel, but did not drive away. 2 hours later, she was still there. I texted Griffin. "My ex is parked outside my house. It has been 2 hours. What is the move?" He called immediately. "You want me to come over? I can tell her to leave." "No," I said. "She will get bored." "This is not good," Griffin said. "It is desperation," I said. "It is not a plan." Griffin stayed on the phone for 20 minutes, talking about normal things. Our Saturday league, his co-worker's mild office drama, plans for next weekend. It helped. When I looked outside at 9 o'clock, her car was gone. Monday morning, flowers arrived at my office. A large arrangement, probably more than she could afford. The card read, "I am sorry. Please give me another chance. I love you." Nate saw them delivered. "Someone has an admirer," he said. "Ex-wife," I said, dropping the card into the trash. "She cannot take no for an answer." "Yikes," Nate said. "What are you going to do with those?" I looked at the flowers. They were beautiful. Shame to waste them. I set them in the break room with a note. "Free flowers. Help yourself." They were gone by lunch. That afternoon, her sister Marissa called. We had always been friendly. Her barbecues were legendary. "I know you are probably tired of hearing from us," Marissa said. "A little," I said. "She is not doing well," Marissa said. "I am worried." "That is tough," I said, "but it is not my problem to solve." "You were married to her," Marissa said. "Does that not count for something?" "It counted for 5 years," I said. Then she decided it did not count enough. Now I am making the same decision. "She made a mistake," Marissa said. "A big one. She is genuinely sorry." "I believe she is sorry," I said. "Sorry it did not work out the way she planned. Sorry she lost her job. Sorry she is alone. But is she sorry she threw away our marriage? Or is she sorry she lost her safety net?" Marissa was silent. "I appreciate you trying to help," I said, "but this is between me and her, and I have made my position clear. I am done. Can I ask you something?" Marissa asked quietly. "Sure," I said. "Did you ever really love her?" she asked. The question landed harder than I expected. "I loved who I thought she was," I said. "The person I married. But the woman who told me I was holding her back, I do not know that person, and I do not want to." We hung up shortly after. I felt drained. Not sad. Just tired of the same conversation over and over. Griffin convinced me to meet him and friends at a bar in Navy Yard. "You need this," he said. One night to stop thinking about all of that. The place was packed. Music loud enough that you had to lean in to hear. Perfect. One of the Saturday League guys waved while I waited for drinks. "Griffin told me about your situation," he said. "That is rough." "It is what it is," I said. "My brother went through something similar," he said. "His ex came back after she realized the grass was not greener. He took her back." "How did that work out?" I asked. "They split again 6 months later," he said. "Same issues, different day. Some things you cannot fix." "That is what I am thinking," I said. "Good instinct," he said. "Do not waste another year forcing something that is already dead." The bartender slid the drinks over. In the mirror behind the bar, my reflection looked different. Not physically. Something in my expression had changed. I looked lighter, as if some invisible weight had lifted. Back at the table, Griffin raised his glass. "To moving forward." "To moving forward," I echoed, and meant it. Month 11 brought quiet. The call stopped. The text stopped. Even her family backed off. I thought she finally understood. I was wrong. I came home from work on a Tuesday to find her sitting on my front steps. Not in her car, not hovering at the curb. on the steps like she had every right to be there. "We need to talk," she said before I could get the keys out. "I am filing for divorce. I wanted to tell you in person." I stopped. "You are filing?" "Yes," she said. "Since you will not give me another chance, I am making it official." "I thought you should know." I almost laughed. She was trying to take control of the narrative, as if she were choreographing the ending. "Okay," I said, and unlocked the door. "That is all you have to say?" she asked. "What else is there?" I asked. "You want a divorce. File for divorce. I've been waiting for you to figure that out for months." "You are really going to let 5 years in like this?" she asked. I turned and looked directly at her. "You ended it 10 months ago over pasta," I said. "I am just finishing the paperwork you were too proud to file." "I thought if I gave you space, you would realize what we had," she said. "I did realize what we had," I said. "A wife who saw me as dead weight. Space only confirmed it." She stood and brushed off her jeans. "Fine. My lawyer will contact you." "I'm looking forward to it," I said. She walked to her car, stopped, and turned back. "You know what is funny? I thought you would fight for us. That is what people do when they love someone. People fight for relationships that are worth saving," I said. "Ours was not. You made sure of that." She drove off without another word. Griffin called that night. "How are you holding up?" "She is filing for divorce," I said. "About time," he said. "How do you feel?" "Relieved," I said. "The last piece is finally falling into place." "That is healthy," he said. "Most people would be emotional." "I was emotional 10 months ago," I said. "Now I am ready to close the chapter." The divorce process moved faster than I expected. Her lawyer sent the papers. I signed and returned them. There were no arguments about assets, no fighting about who got what. She wanted out. I wanted closure. During that time, I ran into Claire at a coffee shop in Arlington, Virginia. She was in line when she spotted me. "Hey, Jim buddy," she said. "Small world." "It is good to see you," I said, smiling. "You still keeping the routine?" she asked. 3 times a week, like clockwork," I said. "You?" "Same," she said. "It is the only thing that keeps me sane." We ended up sitting together, just talking. She told me about the politics in her department, her cat that pushed plants off the windowsill, and a run club she was considering joining. It was easy. "Can I ask you something?" she said after a pause. "Sure," I said. "The first time we talked, you mentioned life changes." "What changed?" she asked. I considered how much to share. "I got divorced," I said. "Or I'm getting divorced. The papers are in process." "I'm sorry," she said. "Do not be," I said. "It needed to happen." "Still hard," she said. "It was for a while," I said, "but I am good now. Better than I was." She smiled. "You seem like you are." We exchanged numbers before leaving. Just friends. Nothing complicated. It felt like proof that life could be normal again. The court date for the final divorce hearing came faster than I expected. I showed up early, dressed decent, not fancy. It was not a celebration, just a formality at the courthouse in Rockville, Maryland. She arrived 10 minutes late with her lawyer. She looked tired, thinner than I remembered. She tried to catch my eye more than once. I kept my attention on the judge. 20 minutes later, it was done. The judge asked standard questions, confirmed mutual agreement, and signed the papers. "That is it," the judge said. "You are officially divorced." I stood to leave. "Can we talk for a minute?" she asked. Her lawyer stepped away to give space. "What is left to say?" I asked. "I wanted you to know I loved you," she said. "I made terrible decisions, but the love was genuine." "Okay," I said. "Is that it?" "Just okay," she asked. "What do you want from me?" "Absolution. Closure. We are divorced," I said. "We both move on. I still love you," she said, her voice breaking. "That is unfortunate," I said, "because I do not love you. Not anymore. Maybe I did once. But you killed it when you told me I was holding you back." "I never stopped loving you," she said. "You have a strange way of showing it," I said. "Loving someone means valuing them. You did not. You saw me as an obstacle. Now I'm just a stranger who used to know you." I turned toward the exit. Her heels clicked on the marble floor as she followed. "Please give me one more chance," she said. "I will prove I have changed." I stopped at the door and faced her one last time. "If you want to prove you have changed, do it for yourself. Not for me. I am done being your measuring stick." "You are really going to walk away after everything?" she asked. "You walked away first," I said. "I am just finishing what you started." Patricia was waiting in the hallway. She gave me a sad look as I passed. I nodded politely and kept moving. Outside, the sun was bright enough to feel new. It was over. My phone buzzed. A text from Griffin. How did it go? Done, I wrote. Officially divorced. Drinks tonight to celebrate? He asked. Yes, I wrote. I could use that. I drove home the long way. Windows down. Music up. For the first time in almost a year, I felt completely free. No weight. No guilt. No lingering questions. That evening at the bar, Griffin's crew showed up. They had heard about the finalization. To new beginnings, someone said. To knowing your worth. Another added. We drank and talked and laughed. Someone told a terrible joke, and someone else argued sincerely about which team would take the National Basketball Association playoffs. It was normal. It was good. Near midnight, my phone buzzed from an unknown number. I almost ignored it, but opened it out of habit. I will always regret losing you. I hope you find happiness. I'm sorry for everything. I read it twice, deleted it, and blocked the number. Griffin noticed. Yes, I said. What did she say? He asked. It does not matter, I said. It is done. And it was. Truly done. 3 months later, my new normal felt like a well-made suit. Gym 3 times a week. Basketball on Saturdays. I started a woodworking class on Thursday nights at a community college in Arlington. The sawdust settled me in a way I did not expect. It kept my hands busy and my mind focused. Claire and I got coffee a few times. Still nothing rushed. Just the steady rhythm of an easy friendship. She made me laugh, did not pry, did not turn every conversation toward my past unless I chose to. She existed fully in the present. One Saturday after basketball, Griffin pulled me aside. You smile more now, he said. Not the polite version. The real thing. I did not realize, I said. You seem like yourself again, he said. A better version. That is how I feel, I said. It took a while, but yes, I am good. I'm proud of you, he said. Not everyone handles that with dignity. It did not feel like I had a choice, I said. I could fall apart or move forward. Forward seemed better. At home that night, my house felt like mine in a way it had not in years. The quiet was not empty. It was peaceful. A week later, Claire and I crossed paths again at the gym. On a whim, I asked if she wanted to grab dinner at a place in Bethesda. I would like that, she said. Over roasted chicken and conversation that drifted from music to travel to a book she loved, something settled into place. Not a surge, not a spark that demanded anything, just a steady warmth. When she laughed, it was clean and simple. You were different from what I expected, she said later, walking to the parking garage. How so? I asked. Most guys coming out of divorces are either bitter or desperate to jump into something serious, she said. You were present. It took a while to get here, I said. But yes, I am good with where things are. That is refreshing, she said, and smiled in a way that made me think perhaps the future did not have to be complicated to be good. I ran into Marissa at Target a few weeks later. It was awkward for a beat, then she approached me anyway. How have you been? She asked. Good, I said. Really good. You? I am okay, she said. She moved back in with our parents. Still looking for work. That is tough, I said. She asks about you sometimes, Marissa said. I picked up the cereal I came for. I hope she finds what she is looking for, I said. But that chapter is closed for me. Marissa nodded. I can see that. You look happy. I am, I said. Good, she said. You deserve that. We parted amicably. No hard feelings. Just two people who used to share holidays. That night, Claire asked what I was thinking about. How different things are from a year ago, I said. Different and better. Absolutely, she said. She squeezed my hand and let the quiet be a comfort rather than a void. The woodworking class became a ritual. I built a bookshelf, then a coffee table. The first time I sanded the edge of a tabletop and felt the wood turn satin under my palm, I realized I had forgotten to keep score of time. There was only the hum of shop vacuum and the low talk of other hobbyists. 6 months after the divorce, work recognized what my focus had earned. The promotion was not dramatic, but it was enough to feel like progress. My manager said, "You have been consistent. Keep it up." Claire and I began to date. We agreed to keep it simple. She knew the history, and she did not judge it. We took our time. On a spring evening, we walked along the waterfront at the wharf. A busker played a soft R&B standard that I almost recognized. Claire said, "You are quiet." "I am thinking about how peace is not always loud," I said. "I like that," she said. Peace does not have to shout. I received one final message months later, from a different number, but in a familiar tone. I know you have moved on. I have too. I understand now why you could not take me back. I did not value what we had until it was gone. I hope you're happy. You deserve it. This is goodbye. I read it, thought for a moment, and typed one sentence. I am happy. I hope you find yours too. I blocked that number as well. Griffin asked if I felt closure. Yes, I said. Complete closure. No regrets about leaving? He asked. None, I said. About the 5 years before? He asked. Those were genuine, I said. But people change. Priorities shift. She chose her path. I chose mine. We are better off. That is mature, he said, tapping the edge of his glass in a small salute. A year after the divorce, I was cleaning out old boxes and found our wedding photo. Two people convinced. Hope in the tilt of a jaw, trust in the angle of shoulders. For a full minute, I let myself remember. Claire walked in. Is that her? She asked. Yes, I said. Are you okay? She asked. Yes, I said. Just remembering. We had good times. But good times do not erase bad choices. I slipped the photo into a folder with other old memories. Not trash. Not a shrine. Filed away. Part of my history, not my present. Ready for dinner? Claire asked. Absolutely, I said. As we left, I glanced back at the closed folder. Some doors, once closed, should stay that way. I was perfectly fine with that. On a quiet Sunday, Griffin and I sat on his back deck in Hyattsville, eating grilled chicken and corn. He said, Do you ever think about what you would have done differently? I would have listened sooner to what her actions were telling me, I said. Not just her words. You did all right, he said. You kept your dignity. People speak with choices, I said. Sometimes they are not ready for the echo. That is true, he said. And sometimes the echo is freedom. During one of our Saturday games, a younger player named Corey jogged beside me after a fast break. I heard some of your story, he said. How did you know when to stop hoping? When my peace got louder than my longing, I said. He nodded and looked away the way someone does when they are filing a sentence for later. At work, I took on a mentoring role with a new hire named Alicia. She was sharp and direct. After a difficult meeting, she said, How do you stay so steady? Practice, I said, and a refusal to let someone else write your ending. She smiled. I'm going to borrow that. One evening, Claire and I walked through the National Gallery of Art. She stood in front of a painting longer than usual. I like this one, she said. Why? I asked. Because the light in it is not obvious, she said. You have to look for how it falls. It rewards patience. I considered her words and realized that my life had quietly learned how to collect light in the same way. Small, steady, patient. A few weeks later, Marissa sent a short text. She found a job. It is not what she imagined, but it is something. I'm glad. I wrote back. I meant it. On a warm night in July, I carried the coffee table I had made into the living room and set it in place. Claire ran her fingertips along the edge and said, It is beautiful. I like that it is simple, I said. Simple is difficult, she said. You have to choose it. I thought about 5 years, 10 months, and a year beyond. She was right. I did not often revisit the night of the pasta. When I did not feel anger anymore. I felt clarity. I remembered the exact weight of the fork in my hand, the taste of tomato on my tongue, and the quiet that followed my single word, okay. That was the first time I chose myself without apology. It turns out that choosing yourself is not abandonment. Sometimes it is the only way to be able to choose a life worth living. On a Saturday after basketball, Griffin asked, Do you believe in second chances? I do, I said. I just do not believe in second chances for the same mistake. He grinned. That is a bar. It is a reminder, I said, for both of us. Claire and I sat on the porch one evening as rain started to tap the railing. She said, Do you ever worry that the past will repeat itself? I do not worry, I said. I pay attention. To what? She asked. To how people value the thing they say they want, I said. And if they do not, she asked, then they will show that too, I said. She nodded, and we watched the first rush of rain sweep the street clean. I sometimes thought about Howard and Patricia and the hard position that love can place parents in. When I saw them once, months later, at a community event in Rockville, Howard shook my hand and said, You took care of yourself. I respect that. Thank you, I said. Patricia's eyes were kind but tired. I hope you are well, she said. I am, I said, and I meant that. There's a way that endings teach you the contour of your own boundaries. You learn how to say no without apology, and how to say yes without fear. On a Sunday morning, Claire and I drove to a farmer's market in Tacoma Park. She held a bouquet of sunflowers while I carried peaches. What does the week look like for you? She asked. Meetings, gym, class, I said. I am finishing a small side table. That is the one with the dovetailed joints, she said. Yes, I said, and smiled because she remembered. She kissed my cheek. I like how your life fits you, she said. I like that it does not pinch, I said. That night, after she left, I stood in the doorway and considered how quiet the house was. It did not feel empty. It felt ready. On a Tuesday, Devin called. I wanted to apologize, he said, for pushing you before. I did not understand. You were trying to help your sister, I said. I get it. I see it differently now, he said. I hope you're good. I am, I said. I hope you are too. After we hung up, I realized how simple genuine closure can be when no one is trying to rewrite the past. 1 year and change beyond the pasta, beyond the hearing, beyond the block numbers and the missing furniture. I walked into my living room, set my phone on the table I had built, and sat down without feeling the need to get up immediately. The room was exactly what it looked like mine. There was no grand lesson. Just this. When someone tells you who they are, you would be wise to believe them. When someone shows you what they value, you would be wise to let that answer your questions. I had been told and shown. I believed, eventually, I'll let the answers be enough. And in that quiet, my life expanded, not in a dramatic unfurling, but in steady inches. The gym at lunch, a ball thrown to a new teammate on Saturdays, a hand held on a walk, a joint fitted cleanly in a piece of oak that had once been just a rough board, and a future that did not need a grand declaration to be real. My name is Evan, and my life fits me. That is enough. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story drop.